They already know. I mean, just look at this guy. Their best fighter is over 9 feet tall. Do you know anyone that tall? Holy moly, that's tall, right? What's the tallest basketball player? Like 7'4", 7, something like. My husband's a 7'4", I believe it. Right? Okay, 9 feet, over 9 feet tall. That's like 2 more heads, right? And this guy's like wearing things that weigh 5,000 shekels. Again, I don't know how much that, but that sounds like a lot, right? Thousands of something, right? And he's this big guy, and he comes out and ridicules the Israelites, and they're terrified. They can't even find one person in all of Israel, in that nation, who has the courage enough to step up to this beast of a man, right? And so this is what's going on. And David, like I said, he's not a king yet. He's just this boy, right? He's running errands for his father. He's taking care of sheep, minor stuff, right? And his father, Jesse, because his brothers are in this war, says, hey, David, go bring some food to your brothers. Gives them some food, whatever. David goes out there, and he's coming up. Everyone's like, you know, you can feel it in the air, right? Everyone's scared. They say terrified, dismayed, right? And David's like, what's going on? What's happening? I thought, you know, there'd be fighting and war. What's going on? And his brother immediately is like, what are you doing here? You know, get out of here. And then he gets all mad at him. And he's like, whoa, brother, you know, I'm just here to check out what's going on, to give you some food, and blah, blah, blah. And he finds out that the battle is not going to be, you know, 500 against 500, whatever. It's going to be 1 against 1. And this 1 is like the size of 3, right? And so everyone's scared. They don't know what to do. And David, this little boy, he's described as a boy. He's not even a man yet, a boy. He says, oh, I'll do it. I'll go up against you. You're crazy. You're a little boy. But he says, I'll do it. And this is his reasoning. It doesn't even make sense, okay? He says to King Saul, he says, hey, I take care of my father's sheep all the time. And lions and bears and all kinds of beasts come and try to take my sheep. And guess what? I can kill them. I have killed them with just my sling and my stones. So he's just like a beast. I'll just bring him down. And King Saul, this is how desperate he is. He's like, all right, whatever. Here, wear my armor, right? He gives it to him, and David's like, whoa, this thing weighs 500 shekels. I can't do it. You know, and he says, no, I need to go out in my regular outfit. Okay? Shepherds, they don't wear armor. Okay? They just wear, I don't know, regular clothes. They don't need armor. So he's going out without any protection. And all he has is a few stones and a sling and a heck of a fate. Because he's crazy. And he says to King Saul, God was with me and helped me defeat these animals. God's going to be with me again. Okay, that's what faith is. It's applying something to real life. Applying something you learned, something you heard, to real life in faith. You don't know the outcome. You don't calculate the odds. You don't right? You just apply it. And you walk it through, and that's what he did. He said, God helped me then. He's going to help me now. No brainer. And this is what he says. And I love this, okay? So he's coming up and he meets Goliath, and this is what happens. Okay, this is in verse 41, continuing on in 1 Samuel 17, verse 41. Meanwhile, the Philistine with his shield bearer in front of him kept coming closer to David. He looked David over and saw that he was only a boy, ruddy and handsome, and he despised him. He said to David, am I a dog that you come at me with sticks? And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. Come here, he said, and I'll give your flesh to the birds of the air and the beasts of the fields. Ooh, right? He's like smack talking, right? And this is what David, little boy, says to this giant. David said to the Philistine, you come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. Today, this day, the Lord will hand you over to me, and I'll strike you down, cut off your head. Today I will give the carcasses of the Philistine army to the birds of the air and the beasts of the earth, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. All those gathered here will know that it is not by sword or spear that the Lord saves, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give all of you into our hands. Wow, chills, right? I love the story, right? Those little boy, right? He didn't see this giant. He saw a giant God behind him. A giant God that is with him no matter what. And he applied that to this present situation and said, and God is going to be with me now. It doesn't matter who is before me and what insults are thrown at me, God will have his way. He's desperate for God. When you're desperate for God, you do crazy things in the name of faith. You do the impossible. Everyone would have told you, right? They didn't even have to bet on it, that David would have been crushed if they fought. Everybody. No one would have predicted this. Right? But David, he didn't see the battle as his. He saw it as God's. He knew that God's promise to Israel that they will reign in that land will come true. And he stood before a giant and an army and walked through his faith and was desperate for God. Desperation for God leads you to do crazy things. But good things can come out of it. David is not only desperate in his own life, right? When he's lonely in the fields, he's desperate for God. Not only in his own life, but he's desperate for God to be known. Did you get that? Okay, when we come to worship God and we go to conferences and retreats and we worship God, it's not just for us. Okay? Being desperate for God doesn't just fix our lives and change us. It changes the world. And naturally, you will want others to be desperate for God too. After I accepted Christ, and after God started healing me, and I'm telling you right now, it wasn't pretty, right? I remember hearing testimonies when I was younger, and being like, oh man, I wish I could. It's not pretty. It hurt. God didn't leave me alone after that day, right? He said, oh, wait, there's something else. There's something else I need to work on. Oh, there's something else here. From your past, it's going to hurt, but I'm going to heal it, so you've got to give it to me. Right? It hurts to follow God, but it's like a good hurt, right? And as God's changing me, and as I'm desperate for God, I started wanting God for other people. Okay, I didn't take courses in evangelism. I didn't even know about whatever. It just naturally came. I wanted this awesome God to be known. Not just in my life. I want him to be known in my parents' lives. I want him to be known in the lives of sick people, of hurt people, of people who are addicted to things. I want him to be known. Israelites, right? And so all these things are getting in the way of that. And finally, they've been warring with this one nation called the Philistines, the uncircumcised group. I don't know why they always mention that. Guys always talk about it. Their penis. They're always like the uncircumcised Philistines, right? And this nation is always getting in the way of Israelites. And finally, they're ready for the biggest battle. And this battle is going to decide once and for all who's going to rule over the other, right? And so this is in 1 Samuel 17. I don't have it up, but you're going to have to open up your Bibles, okay? And this is what's going on. Now the Philistines gathered their forces for war and assembled at Soko in Judah. They pitched camp at Ephes Dammim between Soko and Azekah. Saul and the Israelites assembled and camped in the valley of Elah and drew up their battle line to meet the Philistines. The Philistines occupied one hill and the Israelites another with a valley between them. A champion named Goliath, who was from Gath, came out of the Philistine camp. He was over 9 feet tall. He had a bronze helmet on his head and wore a coat of scale armor of bronze weighing 5,000 shekels. On his legs he wore bronze greaves, and a bronze javelin was slung on his back. His spear shaft was like a weaver's rod, and its iron point weighed 600 shekels. I don't know how much that weighs, but it sounds like a lot, right? His shield bearer went ahead of him. Goliath stood and shouted to the ranks of Israel, "Why do you come out and line up for battle? Am I not a Philistine? And are you not the servants of Saul? choose a man and have him come down to me. If he is able to fight and kill me, we will become your subjects. But if I overcome him and kill him, you will become our subjects and serve us." Then the Philistine said, "This day I defy the ranks of Israel. Give me a man and let us fight each other." On hearing the Philistines' words, Saul and all the Israelites were dismayed and terrified. Can you just imagine this? Right? Can you imagine they're at battle, okay? And they already